Persona 5X is the newest installment of the Persona franchise. My favorite game ever is Persona 5 Royal, so anything with our Phantom Thieves is an instant play for me. And who knows when we'll ever get any news for Persona 6? Anyway, I put over 100 hours into P5X's open beta on the Korean server. While you can technically play it here in the West still, the translation and stuff is pretty weird, so we desperately need that English release. Anyway, I gotta say that this game was actually really cool and well made. In this video, let's break down all of the systems of the game. Everything from the combat, the story, the characters, the gacha system, and more. Grab yourself something from Big Bang Burger, and let's do this. Persona 5 The Phantom X, aka P5X, is a turn-based role-playing video game developed by Black Wings Game Studio and published by Perfect World Games. While this takes place in the same universe as the Persona 5 events with our Phantom Thieves, this is a gacha game. If you've never played a gacha game before, think of them as kind of loot boxes in a way. You're going to spend in-game currency to receive random in-game items. In fact, P5X actually takes a lot of references from games like Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, etc. We'll dive into this a lot more and all of the pity systems and everything regarding Persona 5X in a little while. Since this is still Persona 5, there are a lot of similarities between the two games. A lot of the in-game systems carry over and have extra little embellishments to them. Firstly, we all know and love that UI from Persona, and it is still peak and still has that amazing look in P5X. You'll of course still see the same Confidant System, the day-night progression system, all of that is still the exact same, just in new P5X character fashion. We'll talk about the story in a little bit, but it also follows the same concept of trying to go to the palace, steal the treasure, the calling cards, all of that fun stuff. But perhaps the main difference and the biggest thing you'll need to learn, especially if you've never played a gacha game before, is the different systems of note. The main thing you're going to have to keep track of is your upgrade materials and resources and things you need for your weapons and characters and personas. Here's the list of materials, and you can do these a set number of times each day up to your total power spent indicated by this. Characters will use these fragrances, weapons will use this material, skills use this incense, and the main character has a couple of extra ones. All of these are either acquired from just doing story mode, collecting personas, or these daily metaverse tasks, and we'll go into more detail as we progress through the video. Luckily, if you're as big of a Persona fan as myself, you know exactly what you're getting in for with the combat. Same attack order system, same weaknesses, same almost everything. There is of course a couple of additions, such as some different battle parameters, especially inside the new expanded mementos. Support characters in P5X are a lot more readily available and provide more options in the actual battles themselves. Another primary difference in battle is the highlight function, which is basically an ultimate. I like to think of these as our much loved showtimes. A couple of other differences to note are that baton passes are now just regular attacks that you can choose how to use. The skills and attacks and passives that personas can learn are the exact same, but you are more limited on what you select. As is the usual with our Persona games, P5X features an in-depth, kinda long tutorial to teach you all of this new information, so don't fret too much. P5X also features a brand new cast of characters that will team up alongside our beloved Phantom Thieves. We also got to see this through the multiple events that were taking place. For instance, there was kind of a what-if scenario where our Phantom Thieves teamed up with the new cast to go attack Kamoshida's palace. You also aren't limited to just using the new characters, and in fact, as you'll see in a little bit, Joker was the first character on a live banner. And yeah, he was really good. Anyway, I actually really like the new characters, and I think they're really cool and interesting themselves. You play as the new protagonist, codename Wonder, who's basically Joker but features the light element. Seek is his persona and features a really cool gunslinger style. This story takes place in a parallel universe to the events in Persona 5, and follows pretty much the exact same concepts. One day, your entire high school student career is turned upside down, and now you have to recruit others and challenge the terrible characters in society. As our friend Ryuji would say, we gotta take it to those crappy freaking adults. Of course, you'll be able to wield the power of Persona, which allows users to summon their true selves to aid in battle against shadows. The mission of your ragtag group of phantom thieves is to steal the hearts of corrupt adults and reform society through the metaverse. Like usual, in the metaverse you'll explore palaces, which are the manifestations of distorted desire, and the newly expanded mementos, which are randomly generated dungeons where shadows roam freely. Hopefully soon we'll get a global release so I can fully get my hands on and dive into this impeccable story. As you progress the story, you'll of course meet the rest of the cast, but you'll have a pretty good idea of who they are just from the general interfaces and progression throughout the entire game. Another major playable character is Ruferu, who serves as the guide for the protagonist in P5X. While he is really cool, there is nobody who can replace our beloved Morgana in our hearts. The only other character I'll mention for now is Motoha Arai. In all honesty, she's probably my favorite first confidant that you meet in any of the Persona games. Her codename is Closer, and she's just really cool and features a really neat story along with her, but I won't spoil that here. Basically, just know that Persona 5X keeps up with the amazing character gameplay and designs that we all know and love from the franchise. Making its return is also the fantastic Confidant System that we all know and love. This time it actually caps at level 20 for each confidant, although I never got even close to that number. Through the mystical power of friendships and giving lots of gifts to your confidants, you'll get stronger abilities, more resources, and extra advantages just to play the game. There isn't too many differences between Persona 5 and X's confidant systems to really note, although you do get the chance to meet her, the new Velvet Room attendant. Now it's time to dive in where things get a bit interesting for our new title. That's right, it's time to discuss the Gacha system. Let's discuss the rules and what this means for acquiring characters, weapons, gear, personas, etc. If you enjoyed Honkai Star Rail as much as me, then you'll be very familiar with this Gacha system. There are a total of 3 different banners, and this will generally be how you get the best characters in the game, especially if they are limited. You will have the limited event character banner, such as Joker, the limited weapon banner, which will host the best in slot weapons of choice for each character, and a permanent standard banner. The limited event character is your go-to for the OP characters, and in Joker's case, I mean OP. Anyway, the banner itself works like this. You will have a pity of 80 pulls, and once you roll a 5-star, you will have a 50-50 chance of pulling the main character versus one of the normal 5-stars. In other words, if you roll a total of 80 times, you're guaranteed a 5-star chance. When you roll this 5-star chance, you will have a 50% chance of getting Joker or whoever the limited character is, or a 50% chance of getting one of the normal permanent 5-stars. If you do fail this 50-50, meaning that you get a permanent character, your next 5-star roll is guaranteed to be the limited character. Here are those permanent 5-stars, and you actually get to choose one for free once you hit 300 rolls on the permanent banner. In addition, there's also the new player / novice banner where you get one within 50 pulls instead of the regular 80. In the limited weapon banner, you get to choose which boosted weapon you pull for along with the character's best in slot weapon. This weapon banner will actually be 70 pity instead of 80 though. In total, you'll get a really fair amount of rolls just from doing the story and a plethora of events, as well as mail and login dailies and codes and stuff like that. It does seem to be following in the same footsteps as Honkai Star Rail, where it'll give you plenty of these destinies to get the character or weapon you want. However, the banners don't seem to last as long as other gacha games, so you may have to save up for a character you want. Overall, I didn't really mind the gacha system too much, and I think it is free-to-play friendly as long as you don't want every single character like I always do. There's also a couple more new systems that I want to introduce. There is actually a friend and guild system built into the game. Starting with friends, the system works a lot like Honkai Star Rails. During the daily life activities and the stamina system, you'll be able to choose your friend to accompany you on these adventures. As an example, let's say that your friend pulls Joker and you didn't. You will be able to use your friend's Joker to accompany you during your dailies. Just remember for these dailies, that's going to be the primary way on how to upgrade your characters. their level, their weapon materials, gear, etc. For the sake of this video, I won't go into vast details about the gear system because that's a little bit more advanced and later in the game. But feel free to comment below if you want to see an advanced guide once this game gets closer to hopefully a global release. The other system I mentioned was guilds, and I didn't get a really good grasp on these. The general premise is that this is the endgame content for really strong guild bosses once you hit level 40 or so. While I wasn't able to test this on that Korean server I played, I'm very much looking forward to trying it out on English. It'll be nice to actually play the game and not having to wait for some crummy translations to come through, so I even have a general idea of what's happening. As for now though, that's pretty much everything you need to know to get your start in P5X. Overall, I really enjoyed this game and what it has to offer. The story seems fun, the characters are all cool, and it follows a lot of the same tropes and concepts that we love from our original Persona 5. I do have a couple of minor complaints that I hope do get ironed out for a Western release though. We didn't go into great detail on the daily system, but I'd like to see it flushed out a little bit. Especially from a new Gacha player standpoint, all of the resource management and terms and items and technology within the game can be very overwhelming at the start. P5X does have good in-game tutorials, but it can still be hard to keep track of everything. Secondly, the amount of content is kind of a dual-edged sword. When I played the open beta starting back in April on the Korea server, there was a lot to do. In addition to the extremely big palaces, probably about 2 to 3 times the size of any in Persona 5, you still have to do all of the other daily life activities like leveling up social skills, meeting with confidants, etc. Plus you have a ton of events to do as well. But you can personally sign me up for that because I love Persona and I can't wait to see where this game takes us. But I want to hear from all of you. Let me know in the comments below what you think about Persona 5X and if you'll be playing the game. I would love to keep covering this game in the future if we do get that English release, so like the video if it helped in any way. Make sure to also subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next P5X video. Thank you so much for watching, and bye for now.